am going to tell you the vitamin right at the start, because I find it frustrating when videos make you sit through 10 minutes to find out something that could be said in 10 seconds. It is magnesium. More specifically, it is magnesium glycinate, one particular form of magnesium taken at night. And the reason it is worth understanding is not because of any single dramatic effect, but because magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the human body, and after 50, most men are running low on it without knowing it. Today I want to explain why that matters, what magnesium actually does for sleep, for hormone regulation, for energy, and for the urological health concerns that come directly within my clinical specialty. I want to explain why the form matters as much as the mineral itself. And I want to give you the information about who should be cautious, because like any supplement, magnesium has medication interactions that deserve honest attention. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Kavaler. I am a board-certified urologist and urogynecologist with over 20 years in clinical practice. Magnesium comes up in my clinic more than patients expect because it directly affects kidney stone formation, bladder smooth muscle function, sleep quality, and hormonal health, all of which I treat regularly. What I share today is grounded in published research from the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society, the Journal of Research in Medical Sciences, and clinical guidelines from the American Urological Association. Most men over 50 are not severely magnesium deficient in the clinical sense, but many are what researchers call subclinically insufficient. Their serum magnesium looks normal on a standard blood test, but their total body magnesium stores are meaningfully depleted. This happens for 3 reasons after 50. First, magnesium absorption from food decreases as gastric acid production declines with age, and gastric acid is needed to release magnesium from food and supplements. Second, renal magnesium conservation decreases. The kidneys become less efficient at retaining magnesium and excrete more of it in urine. Third, many men over 50 take medications that reduce magnesium absorption or increase its excretion. Proton pump inhibitors like omeprazole, diuretics, and certain blood pressure medications are among the most common offenders. The National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey found that approximately 50% of Americans over 50 consume less than the recommended daily amount of magnesium from diet alone. When you add reduced absorption and increased renal excretion to already insufficient dietary intake, the result is a quiet, chronic insufficiency that affects everything from sleep to muscle function to hormonal signaling, without ever showing up as an obvious deficiency on a standard panel. The sleep benefit of magnesium is real and well documented, and it works through a specific mechanism that explains why taking it at night, rather than in the morning, is the clinically correct timing. Magnesium activates GABA receptors in the brain. GABA is gamma-aminobutyric acid, the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter that quiets neural activity and allows the nervous system to shift from wakefulness to sleep. When magnesium is insufficient, GABA receptor activity is reduced, and the brain has difficulty making the transition to sleep. This shows up as racing thoughts at bedtime, difficulty falling asleep, and light or fragmented sleep quality. A double-blind, randomized controlled trial published in the Journal of Research in Medical Sciences followed older adults with insomnia who received magnesium supplementation versus placebo for 8 weeks. The magnesium group showed significant improvements in sleep onset time, sleep efficiency, sleep duration, and early morning awakening, the patterns of insomnia that are most common in men over 50. The connection to hormonal health is direct. During deep sleep, specifically slow-wave sleep, the pituitary gland releases the majority of its daily growth hormone output, and testosterone production in the Leydig cells of the testes follows a circadian rhythm that peaks during sleep. Poor sleep quality directly suppresses both. Men who sleep fewer than 6 hours consistently have measurably lower testosterone than those sleeping 7 to 9 hours in research comparing matched groups. Improving sleep quality through magnesium supplementation is therefore not just about feeling rested. It is about preserving the hormonal environment that energy, muscle maintenance, and vitality depend on. Not all magnesium supplements are equal, and this distinction is more important than most people realize. Magnesium oxide is the cheapest and most common form found in drugstores. It contains the highest percentage of elemental magnesium by weight. but it has approximately 4% bioavailability, meaning your body absorbs roughly 4% of what is on the label. The rest reaches the large intestine intact and acts as an osmotic laxative. Magnesium oxide is primarily useful as a laxative. As a sleep or hormone support supplement, it is largely ineffective and often causes GI discomfort that makes people abandon supplementation entirely. Magnesium glycinate. Magnesium bound to the amino acid glycine has significantly higher bioavailability, approximately 80%. It is gentle on the digestive system because the glycine chelation allows absorption in the small intestine before it reaches the colon. Glycine itself also has independent sleep-supporting properties. Research from Shizuoka University in Japan found that glycine reduces core body temperature at bedtime, which is one of the physiological triggers for sleep onset. Magnesium glycinate is therefore a compound that delivers well-absorbed magnesium and a sleep-supporting amino acid simultaneously. This is why it is the specific form recommended for sleep and hormonal health, rather than the generic magnesium supplements that dominate the market. The evidence-supported dose for sleep and hormonal benefits is 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Start at the lower end if you are new to supplementation and build up gradually. As a urologist, I want to tell you why magnesium matters specifically for the conditions I treat every day, because this is not information you will get from a general wellness video. First, kidney stones. Magnesium is one of the most effective dietary inhibitors of calcium oxalate crystal formation, the primary mechanism behind the most common type of kidney stone. Magnesium binds to oxalate in the gut and prevents it from being absorbed into the bloodstream and excreted through the kidneys. Studies have consistently shown that higher dietary and supplemental magnesium intake is associated with significantly lower kidney stone recurrence rates in high-risk patients. For men who have already had a kidney stone, which is common after 50, magnesium supplementation is a clinical strategy, not just a wellness choice. Second, bladder function. Magnesium is required for normal, smooth muscle function throughout the body, including the detrusor muscle, which is the muscle that forms the wall of the bladder and coordinates voiding. Research has found that magnesium supplementation reduces overactive bladder symptoms, urgency, frequency, and nocturia in women, and the mechanism applies equally to men. Men with urinary urgency or frequent nighttime urination who are also magnesium insufficient may find that addressing the deficiency produces meaningful improvement in bladder symptoms alongside the sleep benefits. These are clinical outcomes that no general wellness video about sleep vitamins has ever discussed. They are the reason magnesium is genuinely one of the most undervalued supplements in men's urological health. Magnesium is safe for most adults at supplemental doses, but there are specific interactions worth knowing. If you take antibiotics, particularly fluoroquinolones like ciprofloxacin or tetracyclines, take magnesium at least 2 hours away from your antibiotic dose. Magnesium chelates these antibiotics and reduces their absorption significantly if taken simultaneously. If you take bisphosphonates for osteoporosis, such as alendronate, the same 2-hour separation applies. Magnesium impairs bisphosphonate absorption when taken together. If you take diuretics, water pills, your physician may already be monitoring your magnesium levels, as many diuretics increase urinary magnesium excretion. Supplementation may be particularly beneficial for you, but worth mentioning at your next appointment. If you have chronic kidney disease stage 3 or above, magnesium supplementation requires physician guidance. The kidneys excrete excess magnesium, and a kidney that cannot regulate this process can accumulate magnesium to dangerous levels. This is the same caution I mentioned in the baking soda video. Kidneys that cannot excrete minerals properly change the risk profile of otherwise safe supplements. Magnesium glycinate at night is one of the few supplements I would call genuinely well supported by clinical evidence across multiple health outcomes simultaneously. Sleep quality, hormonal health, kidney stone prevention, bladder function, and cardiovascular health. It is not dramatic. It is not a transformation in a bottle, but it addresses a quiet insufficiency that affects a significant proportion of men over 50, and it does so through documented mechanisms at a reasonable cost. If you are not already taking it, it is worth a conversation with your doctor. particularly if you have any history of kidney stones, urinary urgency, sleep disruption, or chronic low energy. I am Dr. Elizabeth Kavaler. I will see you in the next video.